Okay, round two. Name something that's not boring.
A laundry? Ooh, a book club. Computer solitaire, huh?
Ah, sorry, we were looking for Chumba Casino. That's right, ChumbaCasino.com has over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Lucky Land Casino, asking people, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
Lucky? In line at the deli, I guess?
Aha, in my dentist's office. More than once, actually.
Do I have to say?
Yes, you do.
In the car before my kids' PTA meeting.
Really?
Yes.
Excuse me, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
I never win and tell.
Well, there you have it. You can get lucky anywhere, playing at LuckyLandSlots.com. Play for free right now. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Welcome to Handle with Care, Breast Cancer and Beyond. A safe place where both women and men can come and listen to real people talk about their breast cancer experience and the effects that follow well into survivorship. Hosted by Carrie Madrid, a stage 3 breast cancer survivor and founder of the CARE Project. It's time to Handle with Care.
Hey everyone, this episode I'm speaking with my personal friend and personal trainer, Tim Crocker. Tim and I met through a mutual friend, and he loved the idea of my nonprofit, the CARE Project, Inc. We chatted about how many breast cancer patients, and survivors, or I should say into survivorship, we gain a lot of weight. And then we're thrown into menopause, and then it's harder to lose weight and all that good stuff. So we started training together, and of course I fell off, and then we got back on, and then I fell off. And anyway, I invited him to come and talk about his experience training me and other survivors. So I think this would be really good for not only personal trainers, but anyone just trying to encourage a loved one to work out following multiple surgeries and a diagnosis. Enjoy. Hey, Tim. How you doing?
Good, Carrie.
Great. Hey, today's episode, I've got my personal friend and personal trainer, Tim, with me, and my special co-host, my producer, Chris Donovan.
Hey, what's going on?
Thanks for joining me. So it's hard for me to call you my personal trainer when we haven't been working out in forever. Like, how long has it been?
Oh, gosh, probably 6 months at least. Back in
he's
March
being
when
nice.
all the COVID started.
Yeah, but you have valid excuses. COVID.
Okay, we'll go with that.
Yeah, technically I'm nobody's personal trainer right now.
Yeah, right.
Unfortunately.
Well, so I want to talk a little bit about how we met. First of all, we met through a mutual friend in business.
Yes.
And I actually had gone somewhere to sort of get a consultation for starting to work out in nutrition and all of that. And the reason that I think this episode could be really helpful to both survivors and personal trainers is because so many of us breast cancer survivors, we gain so much weight from the medications, from the steroids that were put on during chemo. And then if we're thrown into menopause and you have no metabolism left or a very little one, right? That's not the right word, not little. How do you say it, Tim?
Well, the metabolism decreases
Okay.
with the lack of movement and depending on what you're eating and things along those lines.
Don't go there with nutrition yet.
Okay.
Don't act like you know me. But I think that a lot of survivors just give up, and a lot of people in general that gain weight. You get to a certain point and then you're just like, oh, why? Right? You get comfortable in your stretchy jeans and your sweats.
Yeah, no, Evelyn actually just got a personal trainer recently through an endorsement, and she's my wife, and she's killing it. She's so happy.
She looks fantastic.
Yeah, and the good thing is the trainer just come over to our house. We have quite a big backyard, so they work outside, so they're they keep their distance or whatever. But she's really really digging it.
Yeah, and a lot of people think they can't afford a personal trainer. I know I did. I was like, there's no way. I was like, how can I get this guy in my corner? And so we started talking about my nonprofit, and he was very interested in that and kind of wanted to learn more about it. And he's a businessman. So tell us a little bit about your business background, because we also meshed on that.
Well, business-wise, my primary career was in law enforcement. And when I was in law enforcement, I continued my education and got a Bachelor of Science in Business, Master's in Business Administration and Finance, a Master's in Leadership, and then a graduate certificate in Law Enforcement Command, which is just kind of fancy words for strategic planning and futurism.
Oh, futurism.
Futurism.
What is that?
Jetsons. Right? The future is Jetsons.
That's what I'm
everything
thinking.
I think of.
Yeah.
It's just kind of scanning the horizon for upcoming events and seeing how we can either mitigate issues that are coming up or capitalize on things that are coming up, and just foreseeing them so there's no surprises, and that we can just maximize what we can one way or another with the events that are coming our way.
Right, right. Well, and that's what's great about us working together on many levels. But I could go squirrel in 50 different directions with this. But let's talk personal training. You took an interest in my case because I think, this is just me projecting, I think I was a challenge. I think you saw that mentally and emotionally I needed somebody that could kick me in the ass, one.
Well, I think that was part of it, but the other part of it is that you looked at me like you were ready to make a change.
Yeah.
And I think that that's the important thing within a person is they have to say, I'm ready to do this. I want to do this. I want this personal improvement. And,
yeah. I think I was tired of being tired. For me with, I've had a mastectomy. I've had at least 4 or 5 revisions of reconstruction. I'm cut hip to hip. I'm cut armpit to armpit. I have all my lymph nodes removed to my left arm. And for those that don't know, and I now have lymphedema, Google it. Ugh. Or listen to other episodes.
Yeah, I'm like, just go back a couple episodes.
Go back a couple episodes. So I have a lot of scar tissue equals a lot of pain. My ligaments, everything is so tight that I feel like I'm going to bust apart, and I don't have any feeling in my chest and in my abdomen. So when a regular personal trainer would say, something like push past the pain or, use your abs, like I can't use my abs because I can't effing feel them, right? Mm-hmm. So I had to sit and explain all that to you. But I think you're right. I was in a space where I was like 6.5, 7 months, years post-diagnosis, done with treatment, done with reconstruction for now, and just kind of coasting and working and using every excuse to not work out. I used to love to work out. I used to love to lift weights. I was up and down Mount Rubidoux twice a day.
Wow.
I was in a great shape when I got diagnosed. And then 7 years of nothing. I have no muscle left, right? I have zero, I have decent balance, but in my mind, it's crappy balance. So when Tim and I first started working out together, it's kind of like a first date that we've talked about on the last episode.
Yeah.
Where you spill all your reasons why you shouldn't be with me.
Yes.
And I was like, yeah, no, plank, nope, can't do that. Sit up, nope, can't do that. Grunt, nope, can't do that either. And he was like, okay. And at first I was not embarrassed, but I was frustrated with myself because I'm thinking, oh my gosh, he's going to think I'm making all these excuses in the world, but these are legit reasons why I can't do certain things. So how did that hit you as a trainer dealing with me? Be honest. That's what we do here.
Well, the important thing was that I had to start by making sure that you had medical clearance because anyone who's gone through any significant medical issues should talk to their doctor and physical therapist and see what their limitations are, recommendations, everything like that, and communicate that with your personal trainer. So I made sure that first happened, and then we had a lot of conversations before we started working out, and I did learn a lot from you. I had to do a lot of research. I'm certified through the National Academy of Sports Medicine and through the American Council on Exercise, and part of that is corrective exercise. So I have a background in it. I understand how to work with cancer patients and things like that, but what I didn't have was a lot of the hands-on with especially breast cancer patients because there is so much that's been done to your body and so much scar tissue. Like muscle fibers stretch 150%. And scar tissue stretches 3%.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Wait, say that again, because that just gave me another excuse.
Well, muscle fibers stretch 150%. There's a lot of flexibility in muscle fibers. And scar tissue, collagen, stretches 3%. A lot of your muscle tissue was removed. Some of it, of course, was damaged through radiation. And you have a lot of scar tissue. And the hands-on approach, I really had to learn a lot. I didn't know what lymphedema was or lymphatic massage or any of those things. So I had to learn what those things were because the most important thing to me is making sure that you do get effective coaching, but also that I don't hurt you.
And you also wanted, you were very good about that. But you also, I would say you treated me gently, but at the same time, pushed me, but relied on me to be vocal and say, you know what? No, I can't do that. Or this feels this way. And I think a lot of patients that try to go and start training, they won't do that.
I recognized areas where I could kind of kick you in the butt and tell you, oh, no.
Well, that's like totally opposite of training. A trainer's supposed to be sitting there and telling you, no, you have to do this. You have to. You look back at him and say no. It's like, that's like so unheard of in the training world, you know?
Right. And that's a big thing. And I think that that coupled with patients that just like me, I was never going to go to a gym.
Yeah.
I'm like so much weaker than I was before I was ever diagnosed. And I would say the first like 2 months of us training together, all I kept telling him is we'd be working out and I'd say, psh, you know, back in the day I could do this and that. And he would go, right. And finally he looked at me and he was like, well, check this out, homegirl. That's not who you are anymore. You're here right now and we're going to work with whatever. So, and I have no patience. I have no patience. You can speak to that.
Well, I did have to discern between what you actually could and couldn't do because of the condition you're in post-surgery and everything like that versus what your mind was telling you could and couldn't do. Because a lot of training has a lot to do. I mean, I'm not a trained psychologist, but there's a lot of psychology in it. Yeah. And I had to recognize where you were feeling defeated, but I knew I could push you through that area, like a lot of the cardio, things like that. Yeah. And the areas that you simply can't do the exercise, like, you know, you can't do a push-up or things along that line because of the muscle that's been removed.
Hey, we have the same problem.
Yeah.
You can't do push-ups either.
Well, he will make you do them on the wall.
Oh, man.
We'll find a way.
He will find a way. I will say that that's the greatest thing is that we found ways to work around it.
Yeah.
You know, so I could still get a total body workout without doing some of those things. And I think that trainers need to take the time. There's an untapped market. I mean, you can't train every breast cancer survivor, but you can train the ones in the Inland Empire.
Right. Well, especially that come through the CARE project.
Absolutely. But I think that, you know, it's been there. We had, how do you say it, Chris? This is chemo brain right here.
Chemo brain.
Epiphanies, if you will, you know, aha moments in the middle of training where I was like, oh, I can do that.
There we go.
Right? Like I can do that. And it didn't hurt. It was a little uncomfortable because there are certain things, even if I'm on the floor, say I'm doing that exercise where I lay on my back and I have the exercise ball under my knees and my ankles, right? And I'm pulling it in. Mm-hmm. When I go to stand up, I don't have like the abs that I could. Yeah. So I have to, you know, tuck and roll and get up a different way. And it's uncomfortable. And it looks silly. And I think if you get out of your head and you stop worrying about what you look like, which is half the battle anytime you work out, right?
Half the battle in anything.
Right.
To be honest.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, with you, the challenge was teaching you to keep proper form, even though your muscles didn't want to do proper form because they weren't functioning correctly. So what I had to do, instead of having expectations of you being able to do certain amounts of weight or things like that, I really had to back some of that off in the beginning and make it appropriate for what you could do while keeping proper form. So I had to get to know you and make those adjustments and just take it really slow. And I think that it's important for the people in your situation to understand they can do this.
Right.
It can be done. You have to go a little bit slower. Maybe you're not going to be the athlete that you had hoped you're going to be, or go to that performance level, but you can certainly improve. You can improve your health. You can improve your longevity, all of those things.
You know. It's interesting you said longevity. I'm going to be talking with Dr. Ashley Beckman, who is a doctor of Chinese medicine, and she just contributed to a book about longevity and talks about epigenetics. So that'll be a good episode, I think, for you to listen to. Yeah. So I think it is important, both from you, from a trainer's perspective, and now I'm going to say it to all my fellow survivors. It is important to do something. Yeah. Just start, right? Just start, because, oh my gosh, then we got to a point where I would say to you, what do you mean you want me to lift that 5-pound weight? Give me the 10. And I'm like, that's like a disgrace, 5 pounds, you know? But he's right. I had to learn to trust him. Like,
walk before you can run.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, but I used to. And he's like, get that 5-pound weight. And then one day he just stopped talking to me in the middle of a workout and he just handed me the heavier weight. Mm-hmm. And I was like, ow. I was like, eh. So then he would text me later, that night and check on me, like, how you feeling? And I was like, I feel good. Like, we didn't really work out that hard. And the next day I text him like, you son of a bitch, I can't walk.
It's always the next day, right?
It's always the next day or the day after that.
A couple days later, yeah.
And then he keeps trying to get me to go hiking with him.
Ooh.
Yeah, he likes snakes and stuff, though.
Oh, well, I mean,
yeah,
you're not going hiking to look for snakes. You're going hiking to look at things.
But he finds them. I'm not the one.
I found that she has what I think might be a little bit of an unrealistic fear of snakes, a little phobia going on.
Can there really be an unrealistic fear of snakes, Chris? Is there?
Yes, there can be.
I might see 3 or 4 snakes a year, and I've been hiking for over 20 years. I've never had an issue with a snake, and I'll keep you safe.
So group hike? Are we doing a group hike?
Well, it depends on where it's at.
Yeah.
If it's, I'm not very good in the sun, so I have to wear either a really big hat or I have to make sure I have a tree.
Look at him. He can't be in so much sun either.
Back then I had hair and it had color. It was red, and I, very, very pale skin.
Yeah.
Sensitive
so we've talked a little. Well, we haven't talked yet about muscle memory. Can you explain that a little bit?
Muscle memory, basically, as you train, your muscles adapt, your nervous system adapts, your blood supply adapts to training, and over time, your body will do fairly significant adaptations. Mm-hmm. And once you stop working out, your body will still maintain some of that, not all of it. You still have to redevelop your capillaries and, stuff like that, but your proprioceptive system, how your mind communicates through the nervous system to your body, it maintains some of those improvements.
Mm-hmm. So how hard is it going to be for me to get back after 6 months of nothing? I just started walking again, like up Mount Rubidoux and around the park and stuff. And even that, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't breathe.
Well, cardiovascularly, on average, it takes a person 4 to 6 weeks to really start
to get back
into shape cardiovascularly. But with you, the thing that I learned and I had to be understanding of and actually do a lot of research on is the radiation therapy damaged your heart muscle. Mm-hmm. And so now I have a whole new concern. I can't push you too hard cardiovascularly. I have to look for your what's called ventilatory thresholds.
Oh, good Lord. What is that?
I'm guessing where you look like you're going to pass out.
Where you can't breathe. And
she's going to fall over right now. We should probably stop.
It's over.
It's your body's response, a measurable response to cardiovascular exercise that your trainer can see and recognize. And some of the simpler forms are just checking what your pulse rate is, checking your ability to communicate with me.
Is that why you try to talk to me?
I always try to talk to you to see where you're...
Shut up, I can't breathe.
Well, I try to see where your speech ability is, because once you start speaking in broken sentences, typically, not always, but typically you're about 140 beats per minute.
Okay.
And so I kind of watch for that threshold. We have a fat burning threshold, which is where I try to primarily keep you in, and beyond that we have a cardiovascular threshold. Mm-hmm. And I think for most people, for general health, being in the fat burning threshold is what you want to target primarily, unless you're some sort of, you're going out for some sort of specific athletic training.
None of that's happening right now.
Yeah, that ain't happening. We're just trying to walk to the end of the parking lot without being out of shape.
For general health, general fat loss, you want to spend more time in the fat burning zone. And depending on your age group, it changes a little bit. It's usually right between 120, 140 beats per minute.
Okay. So how important is it to lift weights in conjunction with cardio? Because I know we always hear, right, even if you just walk 30 minutes. So then a lot of people go, well, all I got to do is walk 30 minutes. Mm-hmm. But we've talked about, especially for women over 40 or over 50, because I am approaching 50, how important is weight training and weight resistance?
I'll start by telling you that age matters less than you might expect. There's been studies that show that you can increase muscle mass reliably up to about the year of age 70. Yeah. And beyond that, your body, the hormones lower and the effectiveness of your system, begins to degrade. But up to the age of 70, so at 50, you're still within a prime area of increasing muscle mass, losing body fat. And strength training is very, very important to keeping your joints healthy, keeping your mobility. It helps with your balance systems and things along those lines. It's recommended that you have 5 days a week, ideally, of weight training, 3 to 5 days of cardiovascular training. And of course, you don't start at that, but you build up to that.
So when you say like 5 days, say I did 5 days of weight training, how much time? Are we talking 30 minutes, an hour?
Building up to it, 30 to 45 minutes.
Because I just like to jump all the way in.
Right, yeah. I'll just start at an hour and work back.
Yeah, I don't know why I can't function.
30 to 45 minutes is what's usually recommended for most people.
And I've seen people where when they're weightlifting, they'll say, you should jump on the treadmill or go walk first to kind of get everything moving, then lift weights, then do cardio after, like for fat burning. Mm-hmm. Is that true?
About a 5-minute warm up. You want your muscles to be warmed up, and it just helps prevent injuries
before you start lifting.
Yeah.
I have a question regarding you said, about 70 is when you stop being able to build muscle and everything. You think that radiation and chemo and everything has decreased to that age for her and the way her body was going to react to it all?
I think you're going a little bit beyond my expertise. That's a good question for a doctor, but what I can say specifically with Carrie, my personal experience directly working with her is that she is able to gain muscle. She is able to gain strength at about the same rate.
Able to gain weight.
Well, at about the same rate as an average person who has not gone through what she's gone through with the chemotherapy and radiation treatment and everything like that. The difference is that the areas of treatment, specifically the shoulder, the chest muscles, everything like that, that's where I notice a very significant difference, and that's where I have to really use my own caution when I'm working with her.
Okay.
Well, one thing, Tim, I want to talk about is, my left side, because of the lymphedema, is much weaker than the right side, because once you have a bunch of lymph nodes removed, they tell you don't lift anything heavier than like a gallon of milk with this arm, right? Don't put a heavy, handbag on that arm and all that good stuff. So you kind of baby it.
Yeah.
And then you go to lift weights and you don't realize, oh my God. Remember, I was like devastated. I was like, like my right arm is like strong, and I go to the left and I'm like, oh, ow. I could feel it all in my chest and the side of my body. And you don't realize. So I think a lot of survivors, and I've heard a couple trainers say this to me, right? Trainers I know personally that don't train me, but I'm talking with them about it. And they would say, oh, well, you got to train harder on the left to get it equal to the right. But you said, no, we'll slowly build up, right?
Yeah. The important thing to understand between like a trainer, a physical therapist, a doctor, is a trainer cannot be prescriptive. I can only be corrective in exercise.
Right.
So I cannot work specifically one spot to medically improve that area.
Right.
But I can generally train you overall to improve your health as a whole body system.
Yeah. And hopefully the left side will eventually, it'll never be like the right. And I'm okay with that. And I think a lot of patients need to know that.
I think it comes down to more like productivity and how it works. Like, is it working as functional as the right one? Maybe not lifting as many as weights, but it's still working.
But we all have one weaker side.
Yeah.
Ours is just more pronounced. Yeah.
What I do is I take the approach of making sure that both sides are working equally. So I'll actually back the right side down a little, because otherwise all you're going to be doing is creating even more of an
imbalance. I'm going to walk around with one big right arm.
Remember that like a bowler?
What was the M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong movie? Where that one dude just did curls on the right arm, something in the water.
Yeah. Oh, that's me. But that's how I feel. Like, I feel like my right side, I always say the whole left side of my body is jacked.
Yeah. So for like your overall balance and everything, I can do some correction as a trainer, but to get into something really specific and prescriptive, you'd have to see a physical therapist.
Yeah, whatever.
Or something like that. So
you are my physical therapist, my motivator, my trainer, my friend. He's like, hey, bitch, when are we working out?
Well, the funny thing is, when I first got to meet you, I had to adapt to your personality,
and it's a big one.
It took a while. The first couple weeks, I told my wife, I said, I don't think she likes me. I'm pretty sure she
probably didn't. Let's be honest. If she was starting to work out, she hated you.
Oh, I've called him a few MFers.
Yeah, but now she's probably okay.
I learned new words from her.
Lies. Oh yeah, we've spent so much time talking before we work out. He's like, I have an appointment after this. I'm like, what? I don't get your whole day.
Yeah, right.
But your wife has had an amazing transformation, Betty.
Yes. Yeah.
She's really inspirational. Did you train her?
I started training her, but I think in the long run, we found that it's probably best that your spouse not be your trainer.
I agree with that 100%.
Evelyn, do you hear Chris co-signing that?
Yeah. Every so often she'll be like, come out and work out with me. I'm like, no.
Yeah, no.
I'm okay.
Yeah.
This is your thing.
Yeah.
I'll take my thing.
My wife actually broke her back in an accident.
Oh.
She has 8 vertebrae fused in her back and neck. And she was basically just non-participative in life.
Yeah.
And I got her exercising slow. And again, I had to really do some research specific to her injuries and bring her along slowly. And over a period of about 2 years, she lost 50 pounds.
Wow.
She got to the point to where she can run a 5K. That's her own choice.
Show
I'm not
off.
having
All the way through?
Betty's to show off.
I can't.
I'm not having her do high impact.
Yeah.
That was her choice to take up that challenge. she can do push-ups, she can do all kinds of exercise, and now she's highly participative in life, and she has, really no significant limitations anymore. And to watch her go from the sidelines as an observer to a participant has been just such a rewarding thing for me and for her also.
I imagine.
And my message is, there's very few people that cannot exercise. If you think you're one of those, talk to your doctor. And most cancer patients, even while they're, in treatment, can do something, but it just depends on what the doctor
Well, and that's
them.
why here at the Care Project, we have our fitness room. And Tim is on our board of directors, and Tim is our go-to guy for helping to train and just guide, even really not, when someone's in treatment, they're not necessarily going to be working out, but there are things that they can do through yoga, through stretching, through meditation, through just walking the treadmill.
Yeah, the treadmill alone. Yeah.
Just walking the treadmill. And we've got all that stuff here.
Yeah, there's so many things to manage through the fitness perspective. Is you have the weight training, you have the cardio, you have the nutritional aspects of it, stress management, sleep, water intake. And if there's one of those areas that a patient or post-patient struggles with, they can still become somewhat of a master of those other areas and
Absolutely.
improve their health.
Until they can get to the others. Yeah, that's a good, I do appreciate that. You did a very thorough intake on me. And, I was like, can we just get to it? He's like, no, you need to fill this out.
He had to get past the 2 weeks
And
of
then he
attitude
didn't,
first.
right?
And then he was like, okay, we can work on it now.
He's like, no, you got to, I need to know this. And, people say, oh, well, let me do the research. And they don't really do the research. But this guy really does the research. So thank you for that. I appreciate it. I am ready to get back.
I mean, you have an exercise room.
Shut up, Chris. Yes, I do. Here at the Care Project, well, the reason we have a whole wellness team, and Tim is part of that. And the reason we did that is I realized probably 5 years into survivorship that survivorship actually is the hardest part of being diagnosed for a lot of us.
Yeah.
It is that grieving, whether it be your old breasts or your old strength or your old, whatever, your whole body. For me, it was the strength. It was the strength and the endurance, because I did have 2 tumors. One was very close to my heart, one was close to my lung. So the radiation I had after all my surgery and chemo kind of clipped my lung and my heart.
Yeah.
So I have scar tissue there. Plus
Okay.
I already have damage from chemo. So it's hard for me to take a deep breath. You'll hear me, I sound like I'm 500 pounds and breathing hard. It's difficult for me to breathe. So I will say we've worked on that as well through yoga here.
Yeah.
So we created the wellness team. We created the fitness room. It's private, and we don't have to walk into a gym and worry about what Barbie is doing on the next machine or whatever. And not necessarily wanting to be her, but remembering back when we could do that, right? So it's a mental game. It's a lot of mental. So when you come here, you have that private space. You have that one-on-one time with Tim or maybe one other survivor. We never have more than really 2 people here.
Well, there's been studies that absolutely show that there's a reduction of stress through exercise.
Oh, yeah.
And my own personal experience, everyone has their own stressors in life. But I personally find as long as I keep the cardio up, I have limitations from past injuries and everything like that, so I have to work within my own limitations. But I find as long as I'm exercising regularly, and especially the cardiovascular component of it, that it maintains my stress levels at a much lower level.
That's why I say when I go to the mountain and I walk Mount Rubidoux, like I cuss the first 10 minutes up to the to the entrance, because
There's
it's like
that 2-week period.
There's that 2-week period. But that first 10 minutes up, and I'm like, son of a bitch, I just want to turn around. But I tell the story sometimes. I'm squirreling again. One time I was walking up the mountain. Some days it's super easy and I breeze up and it's nothing.
Yeah.
My breathing's good. I'm like, I'm in a rhythm. My muscles are loose. And then other days I'm like, holy hell, I need to turn around. And there was one time I was about halfway up, and it was like I used to go at 5:45 in the morning and at 2:45 in the afternoon. So before and after school with the kids. And so I went to turn around and I was like, screw this. There's nobody with me. No one's going to know. Who says I have to go all the way anyway? I did enough. It's better than nothing.
Yeah.
And I'm telling myself all those stories. I turn around and there's this older gentleman with 2 knee braces with those like hiking poles.
Oh, yeah.
And he's trudging up the hill. And I was like, well, shit. I was I wasn't even 40 yet. I was like 38. And I was like, okay, well, let me just turn around. And he laughed because I would see the same people every day. Because who goes at 5:45, right? But I will say that mountain is my stress release. You know, even if I only, and there's been times where I've only walked, like I've parked at the park at the base of the mountain, walked around the park, walked up to the entrance and been like, yeah, I couldn't get my breath. And then of course I got allergy stuff going on right now. And I was like, okay, this is not going to be pretty.
Plus it's pretty steep. Elevation does make a difference when you get up there a little bit if you're hurting at all at the start.
But I still feel like something is better than nothing.
I agree with you completely.
But you have to find that balance.
You have to want to do it too, like he was saying
Absolutely.
earlier. You have to really want to change and do it, because before Evelyn, my wife, she just was in a rut. She was always in pain. She had back pain. She had back procedures, and now she has a trainer and she feels so much better. And it's like she wanted to do it.
Right. And you know, I have arthritis now. So one of my last
what don't you have,
I
Carrie?
know, seriously, Jesus. Well, you know, I'm a one-upper. The last time I had a full body scan, like I have scans like once every year or every 2 years if I don't have any issues with my blood work to make sure my cancer hasn't come back. And the last time I went, Dr. Ruby pops up the x-ray or whatever on the thing, and I look and I see all these white spots, right? My shoulders, my hips, my wrists, my ankles, and down my lower spine. So instantly I go into, oh my God, my cancer's back and it's in my bones.
Oh God.
It's everywhere. And she starts laughing. This chick starts laughing because she knows me. She goes, will you let me be the doctor? I didn't say anything about that being cancer. She goes, do you see how it's symmetrical? I said, yeah. Oh my, well, at least it's symmetrical.
Yeah,
She goes, that's arthritis, dummy. And I was like, oh, hell. So now I've got arthritis.
Oh, geez.
I mean, but
you're consistent with that in every part of your body, but everything else is off whack.
Everything's all whack. But we hear that walking and getting rid of inflammation is great for that. So while you do, like Evelyn, you get in that rut, I'm in so much pain, like, fuck it, I'm not going to do it. But then the minute I get up and I start doing it, you just got to get through that hump, right?
You feel better.
And then you
she's
feel
kicking
better.
my butt now. She's actually, we went for a walk this morning. She makes me go, and she's got me motivated on the treadmill a couple days a week.
And you guys live by hills.
Yeah. Oh, God, yes.
That long hill by the golf club? Like, I want to walk up that hill. I keep saying I'm going to do it one day.
Every time I see somebody riding their bike up, it's about halfway up, they stop and start walking. It's so steep. It's so steep.
It is. I want to do that one day, though.
Yeah, you'll do it.
With exercise, if you're not doing it, you're tired. And you say, I'm too tired to exercise. Well, you're tired because you're not exercising. So it's kind of a double negative. You have to start moving again to have that energy to keep moving. The consistency, of course, is one of the most critical things. And with arthritis also, the key to moving is to continue moving and not to sit and be lethargic and things like that.
Yeah, because part of me was like, well, I'm a grandma now. I got arthritis.
Oh, no, you have little grandbabies.
I do.
You got to keep that stamina up because you're going to be chasing them for days.
But in my mind, I was like, well, I can kind of get a little bit pudgier and no one will care. And I was like, no, bitch, get up. You still are.
Yeah, you want to go
only
running
49.
with them.
I got so I'll make this public commitment in front of Chris and everybody that we will start training again.
Good.
Because we can train outside.
Yeah, well, we can train
by Zoom.
Yeah.
There's some misunderstandings about trainers. You know, face-to-face training is the most effective, but it can be done online. It can be done from a distance. And even though, you picture most trainers as this fit person that you look up to and admire, a trainer can be a quadriplegic.
Yeah.
I've seen a trainer in a wheelchair in the past. Yeah. And
they probably know more than most people, to be honest with you.
Right?
Like,
yeah. So the important thing is the knowledge, the research, the relationship, and the understanding. You know, obviously I'm not a psychologist, but understanding the psychology of it.
I kind of broke up with you a few months ago.
I didn't even know.
I didn't mean to.
You didn't communicate very well.
That's kind of breakup, I guess. We're not together anymore? Oh, okay.
I didn't get the text.
I kind of ghosted him. Not because I wanted to, just life. I work a lot, I work. This is everybody's excuse, right? I work a full-time job, plus I run the Care Project. Now I've got the podcast. I keep up with our social media.
You have to drink wine.
That
comes up every so often.
Too busy and too tired to exercise, so now you need to.
And I keep saying,
you need to move.
Now I got allergies and post-nasal drip, and I'm coughing, but I will commit.
That's good.
I will.
And you will also get my commitment back to you.
Okay. So if there are other breast cancer survivors within the Inland Empire, once COVID restrictions lift and we're all safe, we can work out. And I can still hook you up with a consult with Tim. And online training is very easy. Yeah. We've been doing our socials, our survivor socials monthly through Zoom. So
we've got a mobile camera and set up for the whole building, so we can put that in the training room if we need to.
Yeah, we can do that. Oh, yeah, I didn't think about that.
Oh, yeah.
That's why I have you around.
Yeah, I know.
My tech guy. I got my tech guy.
I got football on the TV right now while we're talking.
He's all things tech. So Okay, well, we got to go. But any great advice you have for someone just newly coming out of treatment who thinks, I just can't?
Well, the key again, talk to your doctor first.
Yeah.
But start somewhere. Start anywhere.
Yeah.
The biggest challenge that I see people have is through nutrition. It's for me, it's very easy to lift weights mentally. I can get into it. I could do that every day. My own personal challenge when I started working with a trainer of my own in the past is I thought, oh, the diet's going to be the easy part. No,
the diet is hard.
That ends up being the hardest part.
Yeah.
But nutrition is 60% of your success in, fat loss and achieving your muscle gain goals.
So you don't want to hear that I'm about to go home and fry my own tortilla chips, right?
Yeah, I don't want to hear that because I tell you not to have either one.
I was thinking about picking up Del Taco on the way home, but now I'll just go home and have a taco shell.
Right.
Just a shell.
Start anywhere. Start doing something. Research nutrition. Reach out to a trainer. Start walking 3 days a week, slow. Just start nice and slow and just build up gradually over time. But the guidance of a trainer will make your success much more efficient.
Yeah.
And correct muscle imbalances, minimize injuries. There's, of course, some risk with exercise no matter what, but the benefit greatly outweighs the risk.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so here at the Care Project for our Inland Empire of SoCal patients, one of the things that the Care Project offers is assistance with that. And I know that you volunteer your time a lot, but there are certain people that will need you more, and we will help pay for that. So anyone who's interested, just reach out to me through the careprojectinc.org. Just email through our Support Us tab, and we will get you linked up with Tim. Anything else?
Well, the restrictions that are my biggest problem right now is the COVID restrictions. I'm actually not doing any face-to-face training at this time.
But we can still get consults in.
That's temporary.
Yeah,
I can still do consultations. I'll take phone calls, things along those.
Yeah, maybe you should work me out, and we could go live. We get Chris to go in there. No, really.
I don't know if you
set it up so you can work out live.
Are you allowed to broadcast that many cuss words?
I mean, if we put not safe for work right before, then
we just put an E next to the title.
I got many names beyond Tim when I work with her.
Hey.
That's just terms of endearment from her.
That's right. Chris is, I depend on Chris a lot.
Not true.
So I try not to cuss around Chris too much.
Now, I'm exaggerating out of jest, of course, but
nice.
I enjoy working with you. I really do, and I look forward to doing it again soon.
We will. I'm going to go get my ass in shape so I can get in shape. It's kind of like cleaning your house before the house cleaner comes.
Yeah. Oh, God. Evelyn does that crap.
So let me go up the mountain right now for about a week straight before I start working with this guy again.
You're going to have to start walking to work.
Well, you're pushing it there. All right. Well, thanks for joining us. We'll have you back.
Okay. Excellent.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Thanks.
Thanks, Tim.
And take care, too.
Thank you for listening to Handle with Care, Breast Cancer and Beyond. Please let us know what you think of the show by leaving a rating and review. And don't forget to share it with a friend. For more information or to connect with Carrie, go to thecareprojectinc.org.
Are you struggling to lose weight and keep it off? Tired of wasting time and money on starvation diets that lead to more frustration and stress? If there was a weight loss solution that could actually work for you, would you try it? Then head to Golo.com.
I'm Steve. I lost 138 pounds in 9 months on Golo.
I'm Amber. I've lost 128 pounds with Golo.
If you're ready to take back control of your life, head to Golo.com now and see how Golo can work for you. That's Golo.com.
My sleep is way better. My inflammation has gone way down. Golo saved my life. I was way overweight. That's what sent me down the path. I wanted to make sure and live for my kid.
I have literally tried everything. I was on the verge of getting gastric bypass surgery, and I saw the Golo commercial, and it was the last thing I tried because it worked.
Join over 2 million people who found a better way to lose weight with Golo. Your healthier and happier life begins at Golo.com. That's Golo.com. Again, Golo.com.